Konoe jumped out of bed. His heart beat like a drum. His body was bathed in sweat, as if he had been doused with water, and his breath was ragged with fear. What did he just see? What happened? Confused, Konoe lashed his tail repeatedly. That was it. A dream, just now. Only one word floated through his mind. Dream. Saying it aloud, Konoe understood the meaning of the word. His strength left his body. He released a deep sigh. Dream? Was it really a dream? It had to be. Such a place didn't exist in reality, after all. However, Konoe swallowed and brought a hand up to his throat. Glimmering green scales, thin pupils, a wide-open mouth, sharp fangs. The afterimage was so vividly burned into Konoe's mind that it hardly felt like a dream. What do you feel? Answer, the voice echoed in his head. As Konoe remembered it, his settled heartbeat once again sped up. The snake might still be near. Konoe unconsciously began to search for any trace of it. The stillness of the night was the only thing to be heard. Konoe looked outside the window. The moon of shadow was floating in the sky. Trying to distract himself, Konoe stood up and approached the barrel of water. Taking out the lid and lowering his face in the water's dark surface. Suddenly, the water splashed. Konoe instinctively jumped back. The green snake came to mind again. Why was he so jumpy? It was just some water splashing. Konoe persuaded himself to approach the barrel again. He gently poked the water with his fingertip. For a moment, Konoe waited. A small ripple spread through the otherwise unchanging water. It was ridiculous. He was acting so weird just because of a strange dream. Feeling better, Konoe caught his breath and then lapped up some water. It was sweet, and he noticed that he was more thirsty than he thought, most likely from the sweating. Konoe wiped his mouth with his hand and sat down with his tail wrapped around his body. He stared at a point on the floor. Sleep was definitely out of the question now. It's morning. Konoe wasn't able to sleep for the rest of the night, and groomed himself until the morning light began to shine. Konoe went for reconnaissance the next day, dragging along his body, heavy with lack of sleep. To be honest, he didn't feel particularly attached to his territory. That didn't mean that he didn't need it. His territory made for important hunting grounds. Other cats may cause trouble. If Konoe left it alone for a few days, his scent would fade away, and other cats could claim his territory as their own. The Ribika mainly marked their territory by scratching at the trunks of trees with their claws. Doing so left a scent mark, and other Ribika could identify the owner of this land through that scent. But no matter how many scratches you left on a tree, the strength of your scent would always tell others whether or not you were away. Thanks to Konoe's lack of sleep the night before, the moon of light's rays hurt his eyes. His thoughts felt hazy, and it felt difficult to even move his eyes. He happened upon a rare sight as he was walking into his territory. Several cats were crowding around the home, and the atmosphere was tense. What was going on? Konoe came closer. He peeked inside the house. At the center of the dark house, two cats sat across from each other at a round table. One of them held a ladle which was filled with a black mass. Maybe it was a divination. Heated clay was scooped up, and from the pattern that resulted, someone's future could be foretold. It was Ribican tradition, and many cats relied on it. How ominous. The cat holding the ladle seemed displeased. No matter how I try to foretell this, it points towards misfortune. I have never seen such a thing before. This might be the harbinger of a terrible fortune. The cats that were looking at the entrance of the home lost their composure. Konoe usually didn't care for fortune-telling, but he shook faintly when he remembered the dream he had. Maybe they were connected. Konoe felt uneasy about that for a long while. Konoe gazed at the contents of the ladle. A white design stood out on the surface of the impure black mud. Konoe looked then to the cat holding the ladle. The divining cat saw him, narrowed his eyes, and snuffled. You, Konoe. Something bad is approaching. Be careful. The cats at the table all turned to him at once. In Karou, it was widely known that Konoe was an orphan. Along with his unsociability, Konoe also kept himself distant from all the other cats. Therefore, Konoe felt a distinct sense of resentment from the cats that looked at him now. You're still here, he thought he heard such a voice. Konoe silently took his leave. Something bad was coming. That's what the cat had said. But divinations weren't exactly reliable. Instead, Konoe focused on hunting and guarding his territory. His territory had not yet been eroded by the void. When he stepped on a plant or on the earth, it still felt familiar to him, like it always had, and he felt slightly relieved. Konoe scratched at the trunk of a nearby tree while walking, renewing his scent. Konoe inhaled the scent of the air. No intruders today. Perhaps it was because of the void, but lately a lot of cats' territories were being disturbed. Konoe finished surveying his territory, bagged a few nuts and medicinal herbs he'd found, and returned home. The day passed just like any other. Konoe stepped on the way home. Several cats left the house where the torch had burned yesterday. A slender cat walked alongside the village elder, his eyes downcast. Oh man. He would be the sacrifice. A bandage covered a wound on his arm. His partner from the night before was nowhere to be seen. Konoe figured that would be the case. The feelings that flowed from the cats were wrought with pain. Konoe wouldn't be able to just see him off quietly. After this, the sacrifice would go to the home of the elder. He'd purify himself, hold a ceremony to bring peace to his soul, and then what? The thought was unbearable, and Konoe looked away. The sacrifice never looked up, but his ears were determinedly turned forward. The ceremony would be held at midnight. Those who wanted food gathered quietly at the home of the elder. Konoe thought that he would never join them, no matter how hungry he was. Maybe the sacrifice's partner was also thinking just the same thing. I'm pretty sure he's thinking, why? Yeah, probably just why. Konoe sympathized. It made his chest ache. Sacrifice. As long as you were a cat of Karou, you could not escape from this law. Law? Suddenly a feeling of anger surfaced. Something about this law was odd. Just now, Konoe? Just now, honestly, okay. The elder chose the sacrifice. It was unfair. He ate, and then decided who should be eaten next. Konoe cursed him in his heart. He didn't understand why he was so angry. Perhaps it was because of what he saw the night before. This method existed because people were starving. It was necessary if anyone wanted to survive. It was the only way. He understood. He understood it. Konoe clenched his fist, nails digging into his palm, and walked away slowly.